What's happening, guys? Sam Adams here, and welcome to The Drop, and this is by far the busiest week as far as game releases go for the fall so far. Of course, we have the release of PlayStation VR coming out this week with a ton of games that I'll touch on the highlights of and then give you guys a link to an entire list. But on top of that, you've got Gears of War 4, WWE 2K17, a new edition of Metal Gear Solid 5, Shadow Warrior 2, which was actually in my top 5. We'll talk about that. A couple of other things. Tomb Raider's coming to the PlayStation 4. It is a busy week, so without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into it. So, kicking things off, let's go ahead and talk about PlayStation VR. Now, of course, by the name, it is coming out on the PlayStation 4, and this thing is significant, not necessarily because it's on the level of the HTC Vive or the Oculus Rift, because it is not, but rather this is the first VR headset that is available to a mass audience of gamers that already has hardware that is capable of running this kind of thing. You know, with an HTC Vive or an Oculus Rift, you kind of have to have a beefy gaming PC to keep up with the necessity that that kind of thing does entail, but with the PSVR, you just kind of hook it up to your PlayStation 4 and you are ready to go. So now, I made a big video breaking down the reviews for PlayStation VR, which you can check out right over there. I'll annotate that and you can click on that if you would like. But aside from that, let's talk about the big thing. What games are coming out for the PlayStation VR this particular week that you can play if you do choose to go out and buy one of these things if you are lucky enough to find one. These are just a couple. There are supposed to be at least 50 by the end of the year. In fact, more than 50 by the end of the year. But the significant ones I saw for this week are Batman Arkham VR, which I'm hearing is pretty incredible, Battlezone Bound, which came out a couple of weeks ago and is apparently compatible with PlayStation VR. That was that weird ballerina thing. Drive Club VR, which looks incredible. Eve Gunjack, Eve Valkyrie. Hustle Kings VR, which is that pool game, job simulator, keep talking and nobody explodes. Super Stardust Ultra VR, which is PSVR compatible. Wasn't before, now it is. PlayStation VR Worlds, Res Infinite, Riggs, Mechanized Combat League, which looks to be pretty interesting. I do hear some people are getting sick on that one, though. Rise of the Tomb Raider Blood Ties, which we'll talk about in a minute, and Until Dawn Rush of Blood are pretty much all of the big headliners that I saw, but of course there are many, many more, and I will link a full list that someone posts down below. Next up, we've got Gears of War 4 coming to the Xbox One and the PC, and I do hear it is running pretty well. A new saga begins for one of the most acclaimed video game franchises in history. After narrowly escaping an attack on their village, JD Phoenix and his friends Cade and Del must rescue the ones they love and discover the source of a monstrous new enemy. So what exactly do I think about Gears of War 4? This could easily be Game of the Year from what I've seen, because of several reasons. Technically, it's running great on the Xbox One, and it's running great on the PC. Neither version of the game was given more of an effort, so to speak. You know, they're both great versions of one incredible game, and that's something that's kind of rare in today's society. Normally it would be kind of geared toward, no pun intended, the Xbox One rather than the PC, or it will be geared toward the PC rather than the Xbox One, but they're both incredible versions of the game. Now, one cool thing about this is that it's a great place to kind of jump into the Gears franchise, because with Gears of War 3, you were following a story that had already been begun with Gears of War 1 and 2, and of course Judgment's kind of the odd man out. That's kind of a side note right there. But with Gears of War 3, a lot of people said it should have ended there. However, with Gears of War 4, you're picking up with the main character from the first 3 games' son, so that's a pretty significant thing, and I think that's a great way to continue the franchise for old-time fans, but also invite newcomers into the arena, so to speak. Now, aside from all of that, you're going to have to play it for yourself, because I don't want to delve into what exactly the story entails, mainly because I don't want to spoil it for myself. I do plan on playing this one, but for any Xbox One fans out there, or fans of the Gears franchise overall, this is definitely one you should plan on picking up over the course of the next couple of months, if it's not going to be this week. Next up, we've got WWE 2K17 coming to the PlayStation 4, PlayStation 3, Xbox One, and Xbox 360. Welcome to Suplex City, courtesy of superstar Brock Lesnar. WWE 2K17 arrives as the reigning and defending flagship WWE video game franchise champion. WWE 2K17 features stunning graphics, ultra-authentic gameplay, and a massive roster of WWE and NXT's popular superstars and legends. Now, a couple of bullet points here. Now, a couple of bullet points here. Immersive gameplay and more. Experience the most authentic WWE gameplay ever, featuring thousands of new moves and animations, backstage and in-arena brawling, and the biggest roster of WWE and NXT superstars and legends to date. Powerful creation suite. Create and develop your custom WWE with the deepest creation suite to date, featuring new creation options such as create a video, create a victory, and a highlight replay system. New features and additional content allow you to create the most amazing custom superstars, arenas, and champions. My career and WWE Universe with the new promo engine. That sounds really boring. We're skipping that. Soundtrack by Sean Diddy Combs, aka Puff Daddy. Enjoy a star-studded soundtrack featuring the top names of the music industry, such as 21 Pilots, French Montana, and Black Sabbath. What a lineup. Curated by executive soundtrack producer Sean Diddy Combs, aka Puff. We just said that. Why would you put that in again? With WWE 2K17, I really have nothing to say about this. I don't watch wrestling, however, I will say that fans of wrestling and fans of these games tend to be happy with them year after year, so chances are they're probably going to continue this kind of thing. With thousands of new moves and abilities and whatnot, like they said in the description, it's bound to have some new stuff in it, so if you're a fan of this kind of thing, you probably want to check it out, and it's cool that it's coming out on the old generation as well as the new generation. Of course, that's probably to make as much money as possible, but hey, it's still cool to see games coming out on the 360 and PS3, in my opinion. Next up, Metal Gear Solid 5 The Definitive Experience. Metal Gear Solid 5 The Definitive Experience is the ultimate collection of Metal Gear Solid 5 story, which includes the critically acclaimed Metal Gear Solid 5 The Phantom Pain, its prologue Metal Gear Solid 5 Ground Zeroes, as well as all their DLC contents. So with The Phantom Pain and this definitive experience, so to speak, The Phantom Pain was pretty much Kojima's last big project with Konami, and it's considered to be one of the best Metal Gear Solid 5 games to date, but it does not necessarily play like things like Metal Gear Solid 2, Snake Eater, etc. It's kind of like a mixture of Peace Walker and Metal Gear Solid 4, if you are into that kind of thing, but I love how they literally put little to no effort in selling this. It's like, this is what you get. You get The Phantom Pain, Ground Zeroes, and the DLC. You don't really need anything more than that. So if you haven't played The Phantom Pain, you haven't played Ground Zeroes, or you want to buy them all in one big bundle, it's coming to the PC, the PlayStation 4, and the Xbox One, and it's worth noting that it is $10 cheaper on PC through Steam if you did want to go through it that way. I actually haven't played The Phantom Pain, so I might be picking this one up in some kind of sale over the course of the next couple of months as the holiday season is rolling through, and if you haven't played it, you might want to consider doing that as well. Next up, we've got Shadow Warrior 2. 5 years have passed since Lo Wang shattered the alliance between his deceitful former boss and the ancient gods of the Shadow Realm. Despite noble intentions, Lo Wang's efforts to annihilate the darkness corrupted the world, creating a strange and savage new order where humans and demons live side by side. The once feared warrior now lives in the shifting wildlands outside the reach of his enemies and the neon glow of Zilla's cybernetic metropolis, scratching out a meager existence as a hired sword for the local Yakuza clans. When a simple mission goes wrong, Lo Wang is drawn into a volatile conflict between a brilliant young scientist, a controversial cult leader, and a terrifying new drug known as Shade. The sharp-tongued hero must once again wield lethal blades, staggering firepower, and archaic magic to purge the world of evil. So this game is coming out on PC this particular week, and then it's coming to PS4 and Xbox One sometime in early 2017. If I had to guess, probably around March. That's not definitive and set in stone, but that's just kind of what I'm getting. That's the vibe I'm reading off of this thing. But if you haven't seen any ads for Shadow Warrior 2, that's because a lot of their money went towards the development of a better game, and that is definitely showing through in some of the gameplay that I've seen, because it is literally blowing my mind, some of the gory cutscenes that I'm seeing, and some of the gameplay itself. Just, oh man, it looks great. But if you enjoyed the first Shadow Warrior, you're probably going to like this one, because it takes all of that witty humor, it takes all of that crude humor even, it takes all of the choppiness of the swords and the blazing guns and all of that stuff and just turns up the volume and puts a new coat of paint on it, and that's pretty much what you're getting with Shadow Warrior 2, but there are, of course, new features included with the game, which do include 4-player co-op and a procedurally generated environment, which is cleverly hidden by the story. Like I said in the description, it's pretty much been torn apart, the world has been, and it's kind of split between demons and humans, which creates an interesting environmental dynamic that means the world kind of changes, which is a pretty clever way of disguising the procedurally generated environment, if I do say so myself. But if you enjoyed the first Shadow Warrior, you're probably going to like Shadow Warrior 2, and again, this was on my top 5 games of the fall list that I put, and y'all link that video right there. Again, I think I linked it earlier, but you can check that out, see what I'm looking forward to, but this is going to be one of the best games of the fall, even if it doesn't get the publicity of a Call of Duty Modern Warfare Remastered or a Battlefield 1. Next up, we've got Duke Nukem 3D 20th Anniversary World Tour. Frag like it's 1996. This time with even more asses to kick. Join the world's greatest action hero in Duke Nukem 3D 20th Anniversary World Tour as he saves Earth once again, kicking alien ass and saving babes across the globe along the way. Duke Nukem 3D 20th Anniversary World Tour brings classic Duke Nukem 3D, plus an all-new 8-level 5th episode from the original episode designers to PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and Windows PC on October 11th. Alright, so this feels like the 5th or 6th release of Duke Nukem 3D. I know the Megaton Edition was out on the PlayStation Vita and PlayStation 4. There's a lot of different versions of this game, but for good reason. It's pretty iconic, but I cannot wait to see how this thing is received, because this is some of the raunchiest, sexist, just abhorrent, I don't know what to say. Duke Nukem is just a really raunchy, like, guy's guy, so to speak, but it's going to be interesting to see how this one is received. Now, I love the fact that they brought back the original Duke voice actor to do voiceover work for this, and of course they brought back the same kind of soundtrack, the same kind of vibe. I don't have much to say on this one, but I am looking forward to it because it looks great. It has that classic original feel to it, but it's running great on the PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and PC. If you're a fan of Doom, the original, not the new one, if you're a fan of old school games like that, where it's kind of like a original first-person shooter, you might want to check this one out. I'm actually looking forward to this one, and I'm probably going to play it on the PlayStation 4. Not really sure yet, but you might want to give it a look if you don't mind, you know, terrible comments coming from Duke Nukem and probably some... And last but not least, we've got Rise of the Tomb Raider 20-year celebration. Rise of the Tomb Raider 20-year celebration includes the critically acclaimed Rise of the Tomb Raider, nominated for over 75 Best of Awards, in which Lara Croft becomes more than a survivor as she embarks on her first tomb raiding expedition to the most treacherous and remote regions of Siberia. The 20-year celebration also includes the new Blood Ties single-player content, VR support, new co-op play for Endurance Mode, extreme survivor difficulty setting for the main campaign, 20-year celebration outfit and gun, and 5 classic Lara skins. Also includes all previously released downloadable content, including Baba Yaga, the Temple of the Witch, Endurance Mode, Cold Darkness Awakened, 12 outfits, 7 weapons, 35 expedition cards, and a partridge in a pear tree with over 50 hours of gameplay. This is the most comprehensive version of the award-winning experience. Alright, so with the 20-year celebration, this is pretty much the release of Rise of the Tomb Raider on the PlayStation 4, but it's got a lot more content than the original Rise of the Tomb Raider release did have whenever it came out on the Xbox One, and a broken release on the PC last year, and then it got kind of patched. We'll talk about, you know, that's beside the point. It's coming to the PlayStation 4, and it is one of the best games that I played last year to date. In fact, if I had finished the campaign by January 1st, it probably would have been my game of the year for 2015, but this one is so good. PlayStation VR support aside, DLC, Lara Croft skins, all of that shit aside, if you like the Nathan Drake games like Uncharted 4, 3, 2, 1, even Golden Abyss, this does a better job of telling a story than I believe those games did. That is saying something. If you haven't played Rise of the Tomb Raider, don't look at it as sloppy seconds coming from the Xbox One. If you have a PlayStation 4, this is one you need to play. Now, as far as that VR stuff, it does include one mission, which I believe is the Blood Ties mission, that pretty much allows you to wander around Croft Mansion looking for different kinds of clues to help solve a mystery. It is not as in-depth as the game itself. It is not going to have you jumping from bed to couch, looking and climbing and all of that good stuff like you would expect from a VR Lara Croft mission. It's pretty much just looking around the mansion. But it is cool to see it integrated with PSVR, and it's a great excuse to pick this one up if you're also buying the headset this week. Now, of course, it's coming with all these skins, different kinds of weapons and stuff like that, DLC packs that do add some significant stuff to the story. So if you really haven't played Rise of the Tomb Raider, again, you need to pick up this game. It is so good. So there you guys have it. I hope you have enjoyed this edition of The Drop. If you did, share it on Twitter, Facebook, MySpace, Instagram, whatever you might share it on. I would really appreciate it. Get this channel growing, and let me know what new games you're picking up, or if you're getting the PSVR headset. Were you able to get in that pre-order that was oh so rare just a couple of months ago, or are you going to be camping out in front of a Target later on this week? Let me know in the comment section down below. And if you have never seen any of my other content, I do upload new stuff like 3 or 4 days a week depending on the week, and I stream live on Twitch, so you can follow me over there. But as for right now, I'm probably going to continue my playthrough of Gears of War 2. I'll talk to you soon. Peace.